Hi. This time next week, you're going to probably be getting ready to be with family members and so on for Thanksgiving. And so I wanted to reflect on Thanksgiving a little bit today, because this is the time of the year that we pause to say thank you. We're supposed to be grateful and give God thanks year round. But I got to thinking about a year ago. Um, I heard somebody say about a year ago, I don't have anything to be thankful for this year. This pandemic has just really gotten to me, and it's really gotten me down, and I'm just having a hard time rejoicing and being thankful this year. I've had a year to think about that comment, and it slowly sunk in that people sometimes equate gratitude with the surrounding circumstances of our lives. In other words, if things aren't on this high that we expect all the time, then we somehow feel like we don't have enough to be thankful for. Emblematic of this Thanksgiving holiday are the Pilgrims and the Plymouth, Massachusetts, and turkeys and all of the stuff that goes with that. We think of that every year. 400 years ago, the at Plymouth, what became Plymouth Plantation, in the northeastern corner of what's now Massachusetts, landed a ship. And that ship was the Mayflower. And we know that story so well. It was told to us as children in the classrooms. But this group of pilgrims came from England by way of Holland. And they landed and they settled. And after they disembarked, they began to die off very quickly. Many of their people left the ship when they landed very ill already from all kinds of illnesses, and they were suffering from poor nutrition and bad air and all kinds of things inside the ship. There were 102 passengers on the Mayflower. 42 of those 102 died the first winter at Plymouth Plantation. That's more than 40% died during that winter. It was mothers and children and husbands, all buried in a newfound cemetery on Coal Hill there in Plymouth. The holiday of Thanksgiving dates to November of 1621, when the newly arrived Pilgrims and the Wampanoag Indians gathered at Plymouth for an autumn harvest feast, an event regarded as America's first Thanksgiving. Now, we know that it was Abraham Lincoln a few hundred years later that actually established it as a holiday. But we look back to that first Thanksgiving as being there in Plymouth. And so after losing nearly half of their population, they gathered with some Native American guests, and they enjoyed some of the local favorites and food. The Indians were reported to have brought 5 deer to the festivities. There was some fowl killed and offered, but may or may not have been turkey, even though that's what has become popular today. Probably no cranberries, since they didn't. Cranberries are so tart, and the supply of sugar was very likely used up on board ship by the time they reached the New World. Probably no pumpkin pie, because they wouldn't have had flour and lard to make the crusts. But nevertheless, they did the best with what they had, and they had a wonderful feast. If anyone had an excuse at all not to be thankful, who had the excuse to say, I'm just not very grateful this year because nearly half of our population died off when we reached the shores of this new world. If anybody had reason to say that, it was probably them. But nevertheless, they celebrated gratitude because it was part of their faith. It was part of their understanding that God provides all things. They still counted their blessings, even in the midst of the sorrows that they faced. I hope that you have plenty to be grateful for this year. But even if you're kind of thinking that you don't, I hope that you'll remember the story of the Pilgrims and what they suffered when they came here. As you gathered with family and friends, even if you suffered losses during the year, God's mercy and his love and grace is still with you. Be thankful this year. May God give you a wonderful Thanksgiving together, And I hope to see you next week before I leave. Bye.